Good afternoon to everyone here. If you're here at the show and you happen to see Nick Elms after the show, please buy him a drink. Good afternoon to everyone online, or good evening, or good morning tomorrow. I think that about covers everybody, seeing as we have everybody across the globe. Thank you all for joining us here, and welcome to CitizenCon 2016. CitizenCon is essentially a celebration of all of you together, essentially all of us, and what a shared group of people with like-minded people can achieve. The seemingly impossible, we make it possible. So here is a video that highlights our journey so far.
My name is Chris Roberts, and I would like to build a universe with you.
Before even the campaign, before even Chris's GDC announcement, he had this idea of wanting to create a place, because he knew that there was going to be a long time in development from the crowdfunding to the actual release of the game. And so, foundationally, very early on, wanted a place for the backers and the fans of Space Sims to be able to get together and talk and share stories about games that they love and talk about stuff. The haven, to find kindred spirits who share the same love.
The Star Citizen community means pretty much everything to me. That was why I got involved in this project. And it's what energizes me, everyone I work with, I think everyone in the company.
I really always wanted to build a game that sort of put me in one of these worlds and let me adventure, but I wanted it to be in a way that I sort of went around and really felt like I was in the world. And so up until then, that was sort of the things that I sort of felt had been missing from a lot of games.
Chris had this really big vision for a big world, and so while he was still creating that, we were creating the community website, and we were interacting with all of you guys, and it just kept building and building.
The community that Star Citizen has developed over the past 4 years has devoted thousands of hours into making sure that Star Citizen becomes the best game it can possibly be.
It really proves what we can achieve without a publisher.
You've got that brilliant, immediate communication, back and forth.
The backers and the subscribers are with us. They're not in studio with us, but we really feel that they're with us.
And it's been fantastic. It shapes what we're doing every day. People look at it, take note of it, and everybody's opinion matters.
We read the forums, we read the comments, and that feedback is also felt.
Just from them playing, that's giving us a tremendous amount of information.
You're sort of sharing stuff almost daily and getting feedback, and you're riffing off what people are sort of responding to. And I think there's an energy that comes with it. They're waiting for cool stuff from you. Their hopes and dreams are with you, and you kind of want to not let them down.
We just want to make the best game we can. We want to make something which has never been made before, and we're not prepared to compromise that vision.
This is the fourth CitizenCon since we launched in 2012, and it's quite a great opportunity to reflect for a second how far we have come. We started out with 12 people, Chris, Sandy, myself, Ben, and a few other volunteers. After adding Los Angeles and Austin, really ramping it up in 13, we added Manchester in 14, we added Frankfurt in 15, and now we are at 360 developers and support staff in all these locations, all thanks to the community having given us this incredible opportunity. I'm not aware of any other area, whether it's in games or elsewhere, where this has been done and where an organization like this could be built strictly on the basis of this fan and community support, and it's just absolutely great.
We do events with the community all the time. Backers are there, they're hanging out with us. They're telling us how excited they are about what they've just played, how excited they are about the work we've just done, how excited they are about work that they've seen partway in development, right? That's all stuff that the team gets energized and pumped up about.
At Gamescom this year, on the show floor in the convention, we had hundreds of thousands of people over the course of the week come and see us, and we were exposed to that, and we had people lining up for 2 hours at times just to play Arena Commander, see what was already playable in the game.
There's people all around the country and the world that I would not have had the luxury of meeting and befriending if it wasn't for Star Citizen.
As I followed the game, as I brought it into my streaming career, and got to meet the community, all of it just kind of kept snowballing.
To me, Star Citizen means freedom. Freedom from publishers, freedom in gameplay, freedom for many to live in an online universe they have been wanting for decades.
Test Squadron, it's a fantastic community, and that really is what this is about. We're just a small slice of the greater Star Citizen community.
Once they started being able to walk around, I think they started to really recognize the possibilities of what was happening.
Star Citizen is a chance to finally get to be an astronaut without having to be good at math.
I decided to try out racing tech, I think with the Mustang and Gamma. And I play one-handed, so I have to use voice tag. And it took me a while to get used to it, but eventually, like by the 5th or 6th lap, I was getting the hang of it, and it was really enjoyable. So I'm really happy that Star Citizen allowed people like me to enjoy the game.
We got into a 20-minute dogfight until he was too damaged, and I ended up chasing this guy to about 3 different comrades before he went to Port Olazar. And since it was a neutral zone, the only way to get the kill, I went blades out and went for the ram.
Actually took off on a few different ships and flew to the backside of a moon, and it was actually kind of cool seeing the dark side of the moon. But also when we cruised around and we slowly saw the sun just coming across the horizon, and to me that was kind of a really beautiful moment.
Typically in development, us devs were locked in a room for building for years, right? Without much visibility, without much feedback on really what we're doing. With Star Citizen, we're so open with the community and forward-facing. They see what we do. To get that feedback from people, to get the appreciation of the work and the effort that we're putting in, that in return drives the team.
They show us the good and the bad in gaming development, and we never really seen that before, and they continue to push the boundaries on gaming.
The freedom with not having a publisher and setting goals and deadlines, it means that we can concentrate on what we think means the most to the fans.
We're always striving to build new tools so that the community can communicate and share their feedback and ideas so that we can incorporate it into the game.
Issue Council is a tool that we created to allow our community to not just submit bugs, but ultimately make Star Citizen better. With the scope and the size of this game, we don't just value the bugs submitted from our backers, we need them. Sometimes they even show up with Mark Bug Smasher Avent.
Welcome to Bug Smashers. You ready to smash a bug? Let's get started.
All of us who back this game know that CIG and Chris are doing something special here.
Because the community supports us, we're able to make these excellent shows like Around the Verse.
Welcome to episode 100 of Around the Verse.
Just as a little highlight for you guys, we're going to take a brief look at the Bengal. It's the first ship that Chris revealed for Squadron 42.
There's lore makers, etc., just to show you not just how we're making this game, but kind of dig a little bit more inside of what it takes.
One of our favorite fan video editors, a gentleman named Years100, created the Imagine trailer. He took all of our videos, he cut them together in new and exciting ways. It's one of my favorite ways that the community has influenced not just the development of our game, but the development of our game presentation.
Welcome to the Next Great Starship.
The Next Great Starship was a show that we put together because they actually wanted to get involved and make a ship for Star Citizen. So these great pieces that not only got integrated into our game, but also into our team. We have some of the guys from Next Great Starship are actually on our team today, continuing to push the envelope on every spaceship you see that goes into Star Citizen.
Star Citizen is a dream that thousands and thousands of people across the world share.
The most immersive and diverse space game ever created. A game that can change the way we think about gaming in general.
Everyone has given their thoughts, everyone has given their ideas, and everyone is so friendly.
I would like to thank all of you guys, everyone, potential backers, fans, everyone for the incredible amount of support, because we couldn't have done it without you.
I want to thank the community. You have made this job so rewarding. You have made Star Citizen so much better.
When Star Citizen launches properly, like what someone would consider a commercial release, we're actually, by the time we get there, we know we're going to have millions of people there excited to play and be part of it. And I think that's a massive benefit of being open and doing what we do.
Star Citizen is and always will be more than a AAA game, so much more. Please raise your hand if you have made at least one heartfelt connection with another human being while being part of this project in any shape or form. Please give up a smile for one memory on Star Citizen that has absolutely made your day.
I am a Star Citizen.
I am a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
We are Star Citizens.
I am a Star Citizen.
And I'm proud to call myself a Star Citizen.
It's an amazing journey that we've been on, and it's only going to continue. That reminds me from last year, and I had a bit of a rough time, and I also had a bit of a rough time this year, and I would personally like to thank, I'm going to cry again, God damn it. I would personally like to thank all of the community, because if it weren't for you all, I don't know how I could do my job. I think I've mentioned this before, but it is the first gaming community that I've ever been a part of, and I'm biased to say that it's the best gaming community ever. Okay. And now my mind's gone completely blank. I would like to give a shout out to Rico for creating barcitizen.sc. I remember earlier in the year, Alexis and I sat around and I said, I really want to, because there's 1,000 people here, but we have hundreds of thousands of fans all over the world in every single country. And so Alexis and I came up with Bar Citizen, and we kind of had to make it select because, we had so many. And Frankfurt, give it up for Frankfurt, they had like 200 and something people respond. So we had to do 3 Bar Citizens. So Rico has created barcitizen.sc. Within 3 weeks, we've already had 27 Bar Citizens around the world, some of them going on tonight. So if you'd like to attend one of those or host your own so that everybody around the world can hang out together, then check that out. Okay. Sorry. Oh. In other community news, the referral program that we launched last year, we've actually had 2 fans who have got 1,042 new backers into the game. And both of them receive a Million Mile High Club that they can invite their friends to. The first one, I think we mentioned him last year at the live stream. His name is AlphaCast, and he's from France. And then the other one, Shwimi, is from the USA. So give it up for those 2. Before I hand over to Chris, I would like to thank all of our volunteers. Where are our volunteers? Can you raise your hands? All of our streamers who have been streaming for the past 3 days, where are you? And then an appreciation for all of our staff who have been working around the clock. Chris, would come home pretty much most nights this week at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd ask him how it's going. So, yes, exactly. So props to all of our staffs and our contractors from around the world. Your support, and support from all of you fans basically encourages us to keep raising the bar. And so now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Chris Roberts.
So, really, I should applaud you. I mean, we made that video for you guys because that is genuinely the way that everybody at any one of our studios and everyone that is at partners like Behavior or Turbulent feel, because we would not be here, we would not have the opportunity of building the game we are, pushing the boundaries we are, without everyone that's in this community, in this room, that's in the community around the world. So, you know, I'm a Star Citizen, and thank you guys so much, because you guys are fucking awesome. I love you guys, and I'm pretty sure everyone else that's working on this game loves you guys. So you are our secret sauce. You are what makes us go. You make it easy to work hard, because you know there's a massive amount of people out there that love and are excited by what you're doing. And that is, if anyone does anything creative or actually doing anything, that is really important, and you give us that. So thank you so much for that. Anyway. So as a bit of a reflection, because, you know, I look back, I mean, sometimes you're so busy working and, you know, just what are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? You don't ever get a chance to go and say, you know what? It's amazing what we've achieved already during the past 4 years, and, you know, what we're going to do in the future is going to be even better. But, I mean, just, I look back on it, and, you know, I look at that video and I go, you know, this is incredible. I mean, we have such an amazing community. We've built there's so many connections being built. There's a lot of, I mean, people are playing games now. They're streaming now. I mean, it's just a fraction of what's going to be in the final game. But, you know, I keep like reading stuff online and seeing these YouTube videos or seeing Twitch streams, and I'm going, wow, that looks cool. And I can't believe that all these people like spent, you know, an hour trying to find someone stranded on the far side of a moon somewhere or an asteroid field. And generally, like, most gaming communities tend to sort of like shoot each other and troll each other. And I know we have a little bit of that in our community, but I think I would say more often than not we have a community that helps each other out, and, you know, they help each other play the game, understand the game. I mean, you guys do a much better job than us in terms of actually like educating on how to play the game. We're going to get better at that. But we're busy building sort of some of the core tech and everything. But because of you guys, we've sort of grown. So looking back at it, if you take a look at it here, I mean, this is sort of a timeline we thought it'd be interesting to lay out. You know, obviously we launched 4 years ago tomorrow, you know, back in October of 2012. I look a little younger there, by the way. It's a little bit like the US presidency, I think. You sort of age a lot as you get into it. And so, you know, obviously we got the money, but then you've got to get the offices and start hiring people. So our first office opened in January of 2013 in Austin, and I think we started with 11 or 12 or 13 people. Then we opened the LA offices in April of that year, where we had, I think, about 5 or 6 people. We managed to get the Hangar module out in 2013, which was actually quite an achievement, considering we were still just opening offices and had a very small number of people. But that was, you know, the GamesCon at 2013, which I think would always be a very special memory for me, because it was our sort of first event with all you guys in person, and it was pretty amazing. But, you know, at the end of 2013, we had 48 people, which is a lot less than we have now. Let's see if it moves. I know. Eric, I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah, red one, there you go. Okay. So, you know, and then we're lucky enough to have my brother and some other key, old friend. I mean, I have, you know, Nick Elms, who was working on this presentation, who's our creative director of Foundry 42. So Nick and myself and my brother and Phil Meller all grew up together, and then there's a few other key members of Foundry 42 that are here that we've known for years. We worked on Star Lancer together, so, you know, for instance, Derek Sr. and later on Paul Jones, and they're all here around the audience, so get a drink with them later on. But we opened Magic. We're very lucky to have them come aboard in January, and it was mostly because of your guys' support that I felt comfortable enough to go to my brother, who was, you know, he was at Traveler's Tales making Lego games, doing really well, and they all had very safe, secure jobs in big corporate America. And I said, hey, you want to come and do something a bit more risky, but potentially more fun? And, you know, they said, well, there's only so many years you can make Lego games. And they were lucky enough to get him aboard. So, we worked really hard to get the Arena Commander out that year, which was a combination between the UK team coming on board and the US teams working on it. And by the end of 2014, we had 161 people. So that's from 48 to 161 is pretty big. And we got 1.0 out by December of that year, which had a whole bunch of ships. And like I said, the dogfight model was out in the middle of June. And we started to do the first performance capture for Foundry 42 in April of 2015. Let's see if this will advance now. Oops, hang on. Well, that's the TV screen. It's not advancing for some. What's going on? Here we go. All right, they've advanced it. I think they're advancing it up in the booth, and I'm not advancing it. I don't know why the advance key's not working, but the switch the screen key works for some reason. So anyway, and then in 2015, besides shooting Squadron 42, we got the Frankfurt office, and they've made massive contributions. You are actually going to see a lot of some of the core work they've done. We've got an incredibly talented team there. We have Brian Chambers representing from Frankfurt here. So if you see him with his kind of rocker hair hanging out, he's as cool in person as he looks. We got 2.0 out at the end of last year, which was a huge milestone because that had the 64-bit large world, multi-cruise ships, and a lot of the beginnings of the core tech that's going to power Star Citizen. The end of last year, we had 258 people, again, because of you guys. And interesting enough, Manchester, so our Foundry 42 officers become the biggest and still ends up being. Then of June of this year, we got 2.4 out, which is the first iteration of Star Citizen Alpha that has some level of persistence, and that is just going to increase as we go on. So, your character will keep and keep his items and eventually sort of get wear and tear and grow old and all the rest of the stuff. So that'll be very cool. And we launched 2.5, which had sort of an extra sort of spawning area, Grim Hex, which I hear a lot of people camp out and shoot people when they try to get out of it at the moment in August. So, you got Outlaw and good guys. All right, let me try to see if this is going to move. Eric, can you advance that? Please. Help me. Save me. There you go. So today we have 363 people, which is an amazing amount. I know. So there's the numbers split between the places. This is all because of you. We are entirely crowdfunded, and it's your guys' enthusiasm and support, and everyone out there that's watching this, and everyone that's backed the game, that are enabling us to basically build this game of definitely my dreams. I think most of the developers working on it, and I'm pretty confident your guys' dreams, in a way that we're unfettered and we're trying to just go for it. I mean, to quote Shia LaBeouf, which I'm, just do it! Anyway, sorry, I saw that video recently when we were getting our CitizenCon stuff and thought it was quite amusing. Yeah. I won't do the rest of this stuff where you get kind of a bit crazy and look around, but anyway, but that's because of you guys, and I think that I said that when I started this. The community is the core of what makes Star Citizen go. It's what makes us special. It's in the DNA from the very, very beginning of the project. You saw in the video, Dave Haddock, who's been with us from the very beginning. Before we even announced Star Citizen and Squadron 42, we started with a website which was basically, hey, if you love space games, you love PC games, at that time, no one was paying any attention to that. No one cared about it. Now, obviously, if you take a look, everyone's doing it. It's trendy now. You're a AAA game. They're doing a Call of Duty that's set in space. So, it's like we've become mainstream. But back then, there wasn't. And we said, it was basically just, I miss this kind of game. I love it. That's the game I used to make. And I sort of felt like, well, that was the whole impetus of Star Citizen, and we started with saying, well, it's about the people. And I look back on it, and I looked at what I saw with WC News and the fact that there was still a community that was passionate about Wing Commander long, long, long after the last real Wing Commander game had sort of come out. I mean, it's sort of a dormant property sitting at EA, and I was like, I love this stuff. I think other people love this stuff. And we started with a site, and we had 30,000 people sign up before we had even announced Star Citizen, and 10,000 on the first day, which was amazing. But the key was that the DNA of the project started with the community, and from day one, we've always tried to do that. And I think if you look at where we are and what we're able to do, I think that is 100% due to the community. And so segue for that would be here. Oh, that's finally suddenly one, unless Eric's really good at hitting a button when I hit a button. You guys have always been in the community, right? You make what makes it special. And it's a very different way, I think, to make games. And we've always focused on creating tools to do that. So, like even where we couldn't have friends or you getting together necessarily in the game, we created organizations for the website and ways that people can be discussing on forums and chatting and all the rest of the stuff. And it's important to us to have the ability for you to not only interact in the game, but also interact outside the game and create connections. And I think you could see from the video, and I know you guys all have stories. I mean, I'm amazed. I see everyone with their organization. Everyone's got their own organization custom shirt, and they get their own get-togethers, and there's deep lore and history behind a lot of stuff. And I mean, I'm just blown away by it, and I think it's fantastic, and I think it's really key. So for us, it's very important to put the tools in the hands for you guys. So, Eric, I'm pressing a button. Make me look good. No, that's not the right one. All right, back. All right, okay. So I guess there's in the. I thought I had one more card here, but I don't. You can tell that the PowerPoint crashed. That's why we were a bit late here. We were trying to get this done, and I didn't get to do a proper run through. So I'm going to hand you over, because I think I had a lot of questions, say at Gamescom, about what's happening with Organizations 2.0, and there's a lot of different stuff. So we've actually thought about it long and hard, and we sort of decided that even though we'd said we were going to do this thing in typical Star Citizen fashion, we need to do this thing. And we want to make sure that we give you guys tools in such a way that you'll be able to interact and communicate in-game, out-of-game, in a sort of fluid way that is very indicative of today's modern internet age. So I'm going to hand you over to John Erskine, who's our VP of Online Operations and Publishing, and Benoit, who is the Chief Technical Officer of Turbulent, who are amazing. They build our web platform. They're nominated for an award, for the Adobe Cutting Edge Award, and you guys should all vote for them. But I'm going to hand you over to them, and they're going to tell you about what we have in the works for you guys on the community front. Here we go.
Thank you. Well, hey, it's really a thrill to be here with you today. It's exciting to be at another CitizenCon event. We're going to switch over to some other slides here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing on the platform side. I'm going to continue with the theme that we've begun here today to talk about engagement and sharing. If we look at the vision that we have on our platform, as Chris mentioned, this is something that's been core to the concept of Star Citizen even before the project was formally announced. We want to share this experience with you, and we want to share content to you, and we want to get feedback from you. And so this idea of connecting with our community and then allowing communities to connect with each other is literally the core of Star Citizen. And I have to tell you personally, it's really amazing to work with someone like Chris who understands this in the core of his DNA, because I have worked at other companies where you'd have to pitch these kinds of ideas to somebody who might be kind of skeptical, really. With Chris, a lot of times it's the other way around. We may sort of come with some ideas and he'll say, well, guys, I I don't think you're thinking big enough here. So I'm going to share an example of that with you today. Our goal from the platform is to be able for you to experience the game. You need to be able to do basic things like get the game and buy the game and download the game and patch the game. But we also want you to be able to connect with other people, both inside the game itself, but also in the real world. Because as we look at how technology has moved today, there's less of a distinction between the virtual world and the real world, and every day those walls are coming down further and further. So that's really a core vision that we have on the platform. So we've had the opportunity already to build some really cool and revolutionary tools on our platform, and we've shared them with the community of Star Citizen. We have some traditional things like forums. You know, forums have been around for a long time. We've been able to build some things that we believe advance traditional things, like, you know, most online games have some sort of guild and grouping system, and we have our organization system. I think it's unique that we released the organization system so early in the development process, and people were able to create organizations almost 3 years ago, I believe, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I have some stats on the next slide, but we have an amazing number of people and an amazing number of organizations already. We've been able to build things like the community hub, so it's easy to share content on our site. We've been able to do things in the game, like having the rental system and being able to use your UEC to do things in the game. And we've been able to do some things that are really unique, like the Issue Council, where people are able to actually actively participate in the process of reporting bugs and verifying bugs and prioritizing bugs and doing all that. And I know from talking with other developers, they're very jealous of the system because, first of all, they don't have the technical piece, and second, most people don't have fans who care enough to actually be that involved. So I think that's a very revolutionary tool that we've already built. So thank you for your involvement there. We had some stats in the video, but I'll come back to a couple of these to talk about engagement. You know, on our forums today, which are pretty traditional forums, we've had almost 500,000 unique threads. We've had 7 million people actually write a comment to those threads, and 300 million views of those threads. Those are incredible numbers. It's a huge community, and it's a huge amount of engagement. And in the organization system, as you can see, we have more than 40,000 or almost more than 40,000 organizations today, which is staggering. And almost 200,000 unique people are members of organizations, and many people are members of more than one organization. So it's very, very interesting, and it's a very, very, very powerful message that people are incredibly engaged in the tools that we've built. So, you know, last year at CitizenCon, we announced and launched the Star Map, which was, yeah, super cool. And like I said, that was a good example of how we sort of gave people an opportunity to vote on things that they thought were the biggest priority. And we had some ideas about what we wanted to build. And Star Map wasn't necessarily at the top of our list, but it was at the top of your list. And so we changed some of our priorities around, and we came up with a plan, and then we found out that we weren't thinking big enough. So we made something that's very, very revolutionary to be able to have such an amazing tool on the web to explore the game universe in such visual fidelity. And so after we launched the Star Map, Benoit and I started looking more at our roadmap and our priorities to decide what we should do next. And we had some ideas about an evolutionary advancement to some of the systems that we have today. And in January, we presented some of our plans to Chris. We really liked the plans, and we talked about it more with Chris, and he said, well, I don't think you're thinking nearly big enough. And so we went away, and we sort of digested this feedback, and Benoit and I started to think, well, with this much blank canvas, what would we do? And so I'm thrilled to turn it over to Benoit today and he's going to tell you what we've been working on since the second pitch to Chris.
Hello. This is the second time Chris does this to me, and I need to come in front of you guys to show you what we're working on. I'm pretty excited to be able to show you what we came up with based on the "you're not thinking big enough" statement. And so when we presented Orgs 2.1 to Chris, which was basically a new forum system for your guild, we quickly saw that the feature set that we needed to be way bigger than just a traditional forum engine. Also, we didn't want to just build a forum engine for the sake of it, which is, it's still a pretty old medium. So we wanted to basically start reinventing that. You can switch. And so we came up with Spectrum. The name was coined just as naturally as that because we felt that it represented that it was already in the lore, and so it was the perfect way to sort of name this tool. And so what Spectrum is a real-time web application that offers all community communications in Star Citizen. So that's the high level. Now, to present it, I need to deepen into it. Now, this is the result of almost a year of work and labor of love from the Turbulent team, who has been iterating and iterating on that, looking at what's already there. And this is what we came up with. And so it's modeled after contemporary communication platforms. I'm sure you guys use many of those. And so we did not start to reinvent things from the ground up. We really took something and tried to make it as usable as possible based on what existed. We used modern technologies to build it. That means we did not go the classic route of building an application in a low-level language. We went with web technologies that can now be on the desktop, that can allow for rapid development, which was already a groundbreaking moment to be able to change the stack and go faster. And then when we pitched the idea, it came really quickly that this tool could solve a major problem in the game, which was, how do we differentiate between in fiction and out of fiction? We want to bring you guys, like your friends at work, you want to be able to talk to him. How do we differentiate between that and somebody who's actually in the game? And so Spectrum becomes the natural conduit for that. Now, focus on usability. The in-game UIs will always be focused on being diegetic and super sci-fi-ish. Now, in order to make the real-world stuff really works, then we need something that's more usable, material design, and it needs to focus on that first, and community. And that was the sticking point, is that since the beginning, the vision from Chris was always that you don't need to run your guild off-site. You don't need to run your organization off-site and use off-site tool. We can offer all of these tools in the platform, and so you can just hit the ground running. And so we want you to be able to have your home in the Spectrum as your organization and be able to customize it. And so the first part of the module is, of course, chat. And so if we're going to hit chat running, we're not going to build a standard chat like we did a few years ago for the live chat module. We need a rich chat. We need an application that's real time. We need a chat where you can embed medias from external sites or from RSI sources. We need you to be able to react to comments and words that are being written by your friends or by your coworkers or anybody you're playing a game with. And so just on the chat level, we really wanted to get something that was modern and usable. Now, in terms of forum engine, we needed forums. We knew we needed that. We didn't want to abandon this medium, which was so crucial to building this community. And so, but we wanted to modernize it. And so, in the same application, we're going to bring you guys some brand new forums. Now, what you're looking at now, and I'll show you a bit later, is the light team. And this is part of why we wanted to focus on usability first, because if we make everything dark, it's really difficult to use and it gets a strain on people using it. So there is an option to keep it light, and that's what I'm showing here. And so the forum engine is also real time. When new threads come up, you're going to see notifications come in. It's a brand modern take on this, on how forums can be rapid and fast and not the old school model that we've had. Now, to go further than that, We need more types of discussions in forum. We need to be able to have Q&As. We need to be able to have live threads on live topics that are happening now. And of course, classic threads, which will just, stay there forever. And so what is Spectrum? Well, first, it's private messaging and chat and forums. And so we needed to solve private messaging because I'm sure you guys have used the private messaging on the forums currently. Everybody's pretty much in agreement there. We need a private messaging solution. And so Spectrum implements that. We needed presence. And so to be able to tell online if your friends are in the game or even just in Spectrum, so we needed to be able to have presence displayed on there. Notifications and alert. So if you're watching a thread, you wrote a thread, somebody mentions, you need to be able to know about that. That encourages this flow of information across the board, and so notifications were core to that. Of course, all of these features, they're awesome, but they need to be sandboxed. And so for each of your orgs in Spectrum, you will have access to all those features. And so as you build up your organization, you'll have access directly to features to build your own chat lobbies, your own forums, your own notifications based on that. And so you'll be able to switch context, create a group with your friends, access it in there, create a lobby, and boom, you're done, hit the ground running. And so what is Spectrum? Well, it's all of these things. It's real time, it's modern chat, modern forums, it's private group messaging, online presence, notifications and alerts, and namespaces. And this is the core of what this new app is. It's also voice, because we need to have voice transmission. And so you can advance more. And so on the voice part, we needed to be able to carry voice outside of the game, because as everybody knows and you have experience playing games, you want voice to be carried by an external program and not by the game client, because when the game client has an issue, well, you need to be able to talk to your friends and say, I'm rebooting the game. And so Spectrum is going to be your lifeline for that. But of course, Chris wasn't going to settle with that. We can't have non-spatialized voice in Star Citizen, and so Spectrum will be able to send voice datagrams to the game and have it be spatialized and treated inside the game for additional treatment and immersion. And so that's going to be the ultimate goal. And so when you put all these pieces together, you get an interface that looks a bit like this. You've got your top-notch sidebar, party system, voice channels, voice chat, and notifications all into one. And so this is what the dark team looks like. We can switch to the light team in a pinch. And so you'll be able to swap back and forth whenever you want. And so that's the baseline of the interface. You can see that we've kept it really, we use modern stuff, and that shows through the technology we're using. Now, of course, this needs to go everywhere. So it's a web app, it's a desktop application, and like Chris likes to say, Spectrum is the launcher. And it's also going to be available on mobile and tablets, because you need to be able to keep up with your friends when they're in the game and you're at work. Now, in terms of game integration, this platform is similar to other platforms that exist. The advantage that we have is that we can go deeper with game integration. Spatialized voice is one example, but there's more examples to that. Friends and contact will be standardized in Spectrum, so you can manipulate them from there. We can have rich game presence. That means you're not just online, you're on Port Olisar. That's a big difference. So you'll be able to see statuses from the game straight in the Spectrum UI. Party management is where we ultimately want to be able to get, so that during the day you're planning out a game session, you create your party inside the Spectrum, get your friends in, you've got your chat lobbies, your voice lobbies already set up for your party. When you get to your house at night to play, you just, boom, join the party, it's already created and it's ready to go. And so, location-aware lobbies will allow us to basically have, voice lobbies and chat lobbies that are based on in-game locations. So just by being in a location, we'll create this dynamic lobby, and you'll be able to use it. You can see Spectrum as the real-world arm to the universe that Chris is building. And so when game events occur and you need to be notified on your mobile or whatever, Spectrum will be the transmission for those, and so you'll be able to receive them this way. There's going to be also, Spectrum will be available inside an overlay on the game, so you'll be able to see who's talking, voice, change your voice channels, open the full Spectrum UI, and chat with your friends directly from the game. And so it really becomes the in and out universe communication bridge for the game. And so now this was cool. I showed you some screens, talked a bit about it, but I'd like to show you where we're at. We're not ready to ship just yet, but I can demo the interface that we have on our development environment that we call Future, because we're hipsters like that. And you'll see that it's all generated with text from Alice in Wonderland, because it's our test generator, generates forum threads and channels and all that stuff. But I can just show you a bit where we are and where we're going to be there in a few weeks, I hope. One, two. Okay. So this, what I'm showing off here is just a live super dev interface for Spectrum. And so right now I'm logged in as me. I've got access to chat lobbies. Now hopefully the internet is still up on this Mac and I can still reach it. Yes. All right. And so this is live chat. Now I only have the light theme on this version, but for every chat lobbies that I can visit, I can bookmark them directly in the left bar. The left bar will be the way you can track all types of content, whether it's a lobby, whether it's a thread. So in this case, I'm looking at a chat lobby. I can have rich embeds in it. I can have different user interfaces. I can send private messages straight from this interface directly. I can react. Now, you can imagine that right now we only have these default icons, but we're going to have some cool icons coming up. And obviously, as part of the customization that we plan, you guys will be able to upload your own sheets of emojis and emoticons and change your own upvote icons to customize. And so I can, from this lobby, this is pretty cool, I can jump to my Planet Express org, and then there you go, I'm inside it. But the key here is that the left sidebar allows me to balance between RSI community items, like the recruitment chat, for example, or the general forums of my org. And so I just need to bookmark them on the left, and that's it, I get access to them. Now, going down to these threads, I can just jump to any thread, really. And then this is the forum engine. It's a lot more modern. It's way faster, too, because it's real time. So when new reply comes up, I get a notifications for it. I can upvote. I can react on any of those. But also, what's pretty cool is that we've flattened the list into a single list. So there's no more paging, going from page to page. Just scroll down the list. And one thing that's pretty cool is if we look at Leanne Jacoby here, who's answered Mr. Carey, I can mouse over it and I see his reply. And then, what did he say? I can click on it and just jump straight to it and navigate inside the thread dynamically this way, giving us a lot more control. In terms of editing features, when you reply or comment on any of those replies, like I can just jump here, this is a bar that's directly within. I can keep on browsing while I'm editing. The editing feature is based on blocks, and so I can add different blocks, move them around, and compose my own. And so this is pretty cool because it's not just text and markdown, funky markdown. I can actually insert the blocks and move them and publish. And of course, when I do publish, if I was watching the thread, then I will get, sorry about that, I will get a notifications for it directly. And so the notification panel becomes my follow button, and so I can just follow that. I can also bookmark a thread, and so then it shows up in my left bar. So you can imagine, big Katamari going out, and I want to follow that. I just put notifications on, bookmark it, and then it'll actually show up on the left and light up when new replies are coming in. Private messaging, of course, I was chatting with John earlier, so it was right here. I can actually check this out, and then I'm right in there, get my notifications for my private messaging and settings. And so this is the state of Spectrum right now. This is where we're going. We're a few weeks out from this first release, which will already allow you to create chat lobbies and forums and full control over that. And then if I can jump back to the presentation, right over here, here's what we're thinking about. Okay, so this soon trademark in this case is pretty close. We're thinking before the end of the year, we want to have this first release out because we want this in your hands so you can tell us what you like or dislike about it. And that's typical Star Citizen. We need your feedback to be able to compile what we like about the interface that we thought for you guys and the other one, and if it's good or not. So in this software release, so it's browser only, but it's going to have forums and chat notifications, private messaging, and friends. One thing that I did not show, I can just jump back, is search. So search is one thing that we wanted to have directly embedded in it, and so all your communities will be searchable right away. And so you'll be able to jump to threads or chats that have been logged. That's one thing I want to say to moderators, community moderators that are looking at me right now going like, ah! It's all logged and searchable. Public channels are. All the org stuff is yours. And so in the next update after that is we want to hook it up directly with the game presence so you can already see when your friends are playing the game, and that will create the first bridge with the game so that everything is connected. And the customization options I named, like being able to add your custom emojis, your custom upvote buttons, that'll be in that second release. And then after that, we're moving to a 6 to 8 week cycle for all of the remaining functions. So launcher, in-game overlay, voice support, and mobile. And so we're going to be working on Spectrum quite a bit. And this is only the beginning because, as you can see, you can already imagine how we can bring down the organization system management in it or add more features to it. And so this is going to become a really important tool that you'll have. Since you'll have the installer and you'll have the launcher, you'll have Spectrum installed. And so that's it. That's what I want to show you guys.